What's up, everybody? It's Miranda Alcaraz. Solo again, 2 weeks in a row of solo here on the Adventures of Alcaraz pregnancy podcast. It's Sunday when we're recording, which we normally record on Friday, and I will tell you more about why that is here in just a minute. But Julian is watching Knox as we are recording this. And currently I am 32 weeks pregnant, so 8 weeks left to go. And that just sounds so fast. And I have another friend of mine who's a few weeks ahead of me. And when I was like, you're so close, I think she said something like, yeah, I have between 5 and 7 weeks left. And when I was pregnant with Knox, and I might have said this last week too, because of just the stuff that's going on with our house. But when I was pregnant with Knox, I would have been super stoked to have him come like a week early. I think most pregnant women, obviously you want to keep your baby in there as long as possible. The longer that they're in there, the more that they're going to just be stronger and more ready to live outside of your protective womb. But there's kind of like this, like, yeah, if he wants to come a little early, like a week early, that'd be fine. Like, you know, a little less time being uncomfortable pregnant. But this time around, I'm like, no, I have 8 weeks left. I need all 8 weeks, just because mostly our house, and I'm just concerned that it's not going to be ready. So speaking of our house, this week was by far the most messed up our house has been. And I thought that the demolition of the house, which there wasn't a lot of demo, I guess, involved in our project. But I thought the demolition and when they were like tearing things apart was going to be the most annoying. Not at all. It has been this week. So they got the walls up, and then I guess they had to texture the walls. I've repainted a lot in homes that I've lived in, but never like had a new wall put up in a home that I was actually living in. And so we had a lot of new walls put up. And so they put up the drywall, and then they had to texture the walls, which involves like a really loud truck with just crazy fumes in the front yard of our house, and just so much, it's not really dust. I guess it's just like paint particles flying through the air. And they did it in 4 rooms of our downstairs of our house, and it was loud, and they were there till like 6 o'clock at night doing it, and there was just like dust everywhere and paint on everything. And of course they protected everything, but our house this week was borderline unlivable. Like, people were shocked that we were still living in there, and it was like that pretty much all week. Our kitchen's still torn apart because they're painting the cabinets, and they still need to redo the backsplash, so the counters are like covered, and it was just our house this week was a lot. And then on top of that, a week ago, so I think it was last Sunday, I started feeling a sore throat. And we've had some people in the office here at Street Parking that have been sick. And I was like, oh, no, because they were really sick. And then one of my best friends, who works for Street Parking, who doesn't live here, she was also really sick, like the week before this, and like couldn't even function almost. And I was like, no, like I this can't be. I have a sore throat. Went to bed that night, and it got worse and worse, and it turned into a really bad sore throat. I wasn't like super stuffed up or anything like that, but it like was causing me to not be able to sleep. And the next day I felt like I couldn't even talk, like it hurt to talk, and I was like that for like 2 days. So most of this week was spent with our house being a disaster and with me being sick. There was not as much fitness. And when you're pregnant and you get sick, it's confusing and it's tough because there are so many normal, like over-the-counter medications that will help you to sleep or help your throat feel better or reduce congestion that you can take. But when you're pregnant, most of that stuff is out, if not at least questionable. So, and I'm really weird about medication anyway. I don't like to take a lot of like NyQuil and things like that. It's just not, I don't know. I've always been anti that stuff for whatever reason. Um, but I was nervous that I was going to get really sick. Like I had seen the people in our office that were just like not even able to move. So I'm here in this house, but I can't be there during the day because of the fumes and just the noise. So I can't recover in my bed from this sickness. And I'm just sick as can be at 31 weeks pregnant. And so this week was rough. This week was not fun at all. It was, I wouldn't say stressful necessarily, but I think the stress from the website breaking the week before and the Disney trip and everything just caught up to me and I got sick. So yeah, most of the week was spent figuring out, and I'm still a little bit sick. It's more like an itchiness now in my throat. It never went to my whole body. But I did reach out to my doula, and I wanted to share that. If I can give you guys any advice that are listening to this during pregnancy of what was suggested to me by my doula to be able to take when I'm pregnant and sick. So I reached out to her. I said, help, I'm sick. It started last night, sore throat, sinuses, headache. I had a really bad headache too. And she's like, oh no, do you have a fever? And I didn't take my temperature, but I didn't feel like I had a fever. I didn't have like body aches or chills or anything. So the things that she suggested to me are traditional medicines, throat coat tea. So I went on Amazon and literally just bought all of these things, right? Traditional medicines, throat coat tea. Boiron's, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Boiron's Cold Calm, which is like a cold medication, but it's homeopathic. So it's completely safe for pregnancy. And it's like these little tablets that you put under your tongue. And of course, being me and just chaotic, I did not read the instructions. I guess you're supposed to put them like under your tongue and let them dissolve every couple hours as soon as you feel symptoms. I didn't do that. I think I like put one in my mouth and took it like a regular pill the first day. So I didn't start taking the Boiron's accurately till like 2 or 3 days in when I read the instructions finally. Elderberry syrup. I don't know that I ordered that. I don't think I was able to find that, or if I did, it just hasn't shown up yet. I'll have to check my Amazon. And then she suggested kombucha, which I also have not yet tried, and electrolytes. I got some Noon tablets that I've been putting in my water. And I'm sure there are tons of different ways to get electrolytes. Maybe there are ways way better than the Noon tablets. So Noon is Nuun. But I remember taking Noon tablets when I was competing and we were training a lot, especially like out in the heat. So it was just something I was familiar with. So I grabbed some of those. And while it didn't cure me completely, I didn't work out for 2 or 3 days, maybe 3 days. And the day that I felt the best was, I want to say, Wednesday. And then of course I was like, oh yay, I feel good. So I worked out, but I kept it pretty chill. Thursday I felt okay still. And then maybe pushed it a little bit on Thursdays and Fridays workout intensity. And so I'm still sick, but it hasn't gotten worse. Definitely the worst days were the first 2 or 3 days. And so I do feel like specifically the things that have helped me the most is I was also gargling salt water at night. That felt warm salt water, by the way. That felt so good on my throat. I was even doing it last night, actually. It felt so good. And that seemed to help me be able to sleep and seemed to help soothe my sore throat more than anything else that I tried. And we didn't have any cough drops, and there's a lot of ingredients in many cough drops that are not great for pregnancy. So I was using some local honey, like just a little spoonful of local honey at night to help me sleep too. And by local, I mean it's our next door neighbors have bees. So little honey, a little gargling of the salt water. And then when I got this traditional medicines throat coat tea, that has been helping. I've been having, some tea a couple times a day, and just the warmness feels really, really good and has helped. So if nothing else, at least this stuff, this like more homeopathic stuff that's very safe for pregnancy has helped it so that this hasn't gotten worse. And so yeah, I'm still in it a little bit, but those are some things if you have like a common cold. I don't have the flu. I'm not like throwing up. If it gets to that point, obviously you need to go get like checked out. But for me, I'm pretty sure this is just a cold. Those are some things you can try, and just try to rest and just drink all the water and get rest. And, yeah, I took some days off of training, and that definitely seemed to help. That's when I felt the best, and I'm going to rest today, and we'll see how I feel tomorrow also. But another kind of exciting thing that happened this week was in the midst of all that. So we had the website debacle, and then the house, and then the sickness, and it was just, I was pretty worn down. I came out to the garage to work out on Friday morning to do the team workout with our staff, and Julian had invited my two very best friends in the world, both of whom live in Northern California, to come visit and to take me away for the weekend. And they were just both in the garage, and like, of course, I immediately like started crying, like, what are you doing here? And he's done this surprise before with one of them. But to have both of them here, I don't even remember the last time all three of us were together just to hang out, unless it was when I was pregnant with Knox last time, because they threw my baby shower. And he said, you know, even before everything happened and before all this stress came, like, I invited them. I feel like you need like a girls' weekend to get away from this house, get away from everything, and just sleep and order room service and catch up and have girl time and just not have to worry about waking up with Knox or the dogs or anything. And so they had booked like this really nice like spa type hotel about an hour from where we live in Oregon, and we drove out there and we did just exactly that. We watched a lot of like reality TV, honestly, and movies, and ordered room service for every meal. And we worked out once in the hotel gym because all three of us like that, and it makes us feel better and sleep better, and just, it's fun for us, especially to do together. And one of the girls, Jen, she wanted to do like something crafty because she was like, well, what are we going to do? We can't like just drink wine all week, like Miranda's pregnant. So she had brought these like dream catchers that she had found on Amazon, and they were big. And she's like, we're going to decorate these dream catchers, and it'll be like something fun for us to do and a memory that we'll have afterwards. And so on the way up there, we went to like Michael's Crafts and went really over the top. We spent $300 at Michael's buying stuff to put on these dream catchers. There's definitely a lot left over, but none of us had ever done it before, so we didn't know how much we needed. And yeah, we just sat and talked and ate and worked on our dream catchers and slept in. This morning I slept until like 9:15, which is like 2 hours later than I would ever sleep at home, if not more. And it was just awesome. And I had a really amazing prenatal massage yesterday that like I could have slept on that table for hours afterwards and felt just so good. So all the sickness and everything was like, everything was kind of at a peak, and it came at the perfect time for them to just be there and for Julian to be thoughtful to get me out of the chaos for a few days. I think that's important. It was not a baby moon with him as much, but it was definitely like a mom baby moon for me to like step outside of just the day-to-day chaos and just breathe. And I would suggest like whether you go by yourself or whether you go with some girlfriends or whether you can get away with your husband, I think, you know, it reinvigorated me and just allowed my brain to rest. I think one of the reasons my massage was so great yesterday is because I was so relaxed going into it. Normally it takes me like 20, 30 minutes into a massage to feel like I'm even relaxed, but I was relaxed like walking down to the spa. So still working on getting over the sickness. We have another doctor's appointment coming up this week. But in general, it was so amazing. Just a really not great week, just capped off with something so great that life is good. And we have 8 weeks left, and this baby still is head up. I can feel his little head at the top still. So we're still working on getting him to go head down. I've got some chiropractic stuff that I'll be doing 3 times a week for the next few weeks to see if that can help. If you're looking for a chiropractor that can help you turn a baby who's head up, and it's not like a huge priority now because we still have a bunch of time, but you can look for a chiropractor who's certified in Webster technique. That's like a technique that's supposed to help turn the baby. And so I have 3 appointments with her this week. We'll see how that goes. And just here, like really getting to the end of the pregnancy and trying to connect with this little guy before he comes out. So we'll catch up with you next week and have a good one.